I see.
Yeah. So we definitely don't have piles and piles and piles of bodies, right? I mean, there have been some deaths, and there's, I don't know, in the thousands, right? But I mean, thousands of people die every day. It's just a normal. Death is a normal part of life, right? And like I said, some death is really just goes unnoticed by us, like car accident deaths. What's the number that I saw the other day that was crazy high?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I don't know what you're going to mention, but I'm not going to go into any specifics. But also, too, recently I saw a number of like deaths by something that I hadn't really thought about that seemed fairly trivial, and it was an enormous amount of deaths, and I was shocked at how many people died from like, slipping on a banana peel or some weird. So it was like this ridiculous thing. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people that died from that. So it's all kind of relative, It's
well,
like
the one that I was thinking about that I was shocked was abortions. And it's crazy because people, don't think as those as deaths because they're, whatever, the lifelong argument, if it's a human life or not, before it's, whatever X amount, or when this become, right? But I'm like, to me, if you were to consider at the point of inception, right, like that's a life, and then it was aborted, whether natural or whatever, right? I'm like, well, that's a death. But when you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, this is millions and millions and millions every year. And I guess there's one part of the population that does care, right? Usually the religious right, usually, but which is weird that the rest of the population doesn't care. They're like, no, freedom comes first, and then, before this type of murder.
Yeah, and
we don't care about this other type of murder, but that one, we're not even gonna call it murder. It's just death, because it's complicated.
Yeah, and that's always the kind of workaround. It's complicated or it's nuanced and that kind of thing. It's sometimes it is, and it's not that black and white. But just recently too, I was looking at how many cases of deaths caused by like medical professionals. Oh, right, like doctors.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was a humongous
and
amount.
It's kind of high.
Oh, it was well over like 60%. It was like almost like 80%. It was ridiculous.
Really low, right? We're not like we don't rank high as a civilized society or as a first world country either.
Yeah, and that's a shock, but you never hear about it. And again, so it kind of, obviously we're not getting into any kind of conspiracy theories or anything like that. But it does, keeping certain perceptions down does keep the system stable. And for some, that's what they want. They want just kind of everything to be stable, everyone do your own thing, and kind of don't make too much noise, because then everything stays stable.